Hello, hello, and welcome to the first race of the Winter Heat Series. This is the Movember 50. I'm Alan Cavana. You may know me from Racing's Real World, and I'm happy to say I am being joined by a man you know and love, Rusty Walrus. Rusty, I grew up a Rusty Wallace fan, as you can see over my shoulder. So next to working with him, this is really the next best thing.
Yeah, I hate to say I was not a big Rusty fan growing up, but the name's obviously inspired by your favorite driver. But man, I am so excited to be back here today. The first of 4 Winter Heat Series events, and we have Pro League drivers sharing the track with the qualifier drivers. So there's going to be 24 of the best drivers in the world racing it out at one of the best racetracks in the game at Dover, and they're fighting over $47,000 of prize for winning. This is going to be fun.
So much on the line. For those of us that just want to see some racing, this is going to be a lot of fun, Rusty. But before we get started, it is important we acknowledge and remember a friend. Joseph J.J. D'Amato was an executive over at Joe Gibbs Racing, and he was a friend to many of us in the racing industry, and he was especially an advocate for everything NASCAR. And we want to take a moment before we start, a moment of silence to remember JJ. And again, we're in for a big afternoon of racing at virtual Dover because this is the Winter Heat Series, the Movember 50. All of this is for raising money, a good cause that is Movember. And we have 2 big races coming up, of course, PS4, then the Xbox crew will take over. I'm not sure what to expect. We've heard a lot of stuff. Here's the schedule coming up. 2:07 p.m. We're going green flag. Then we'll have the results after that. Again, the green flag for the Xbox race. Then we'll tell you about the rest of the schedule coming up. But Rusty, hearing about what's gone on in practice, these guys have been practicing all week. They just had a practice session earlier today. I'm hearing a lot of a wrecking in practice and a little craziness going on already.
Yeah, when they're in that practice environment, they tend to send it a little bit more than they would during a normal race. But as we've seen with the Pro League races, anything can happen. Just expect the unexpected. So it might start off clean and then turn into a really aggressive race. But these guys, they're starting to get familiar with each other in the practices, so they can go out there when the bright lights are on and put on a good show.
Yeah, let's not forget what's on the line. This whole series is part of a $47,000 prize pool, right? $5,000 on the line today, $2,500 in each race. You finish in the top 10, you get to go home with a little money. Again, you mentioned how the competitors are lined up. In each race, there are 10 drivers from the Pro League series, and that means 14 open qualifiers in each race. This is a good mix. A lot of guys have never raced against each other before, and we can't stress this enough today. This is all for a good cause. This is the Movember 50 because so many of you already have helped donate and raise money. More than $10,000 they've already raised toward the Movember and giving toward that group. And if you're watching this right now, we ask that if you just donate a little more, you can go to NASCARheat.com/donate. Again, all for a good cause. The game themselves is going to match a $5,000 donation to everything that's already been raised. So Rusty, on top of all the action we're about to see, on top of all the practice and time that goes into this, we're going to raise money for a good cause.
Yeah, the community support has been unbelievable. A lot of the fans have been donating towards their favorite driver because that is how we set the field today, is based on the donations towards the Movember Foundation. So you'll see a guy like Joey Stone sitting on the front row, Matthew Selby sitting on the front row due to the support from the community. So thank you to the NASCAR community and everybody involved. This has just been just overwhelming support that we've seen so far, and you can still donate, like you said, today.
Yeah, and I appreciate your Movember growth. I got to admit, I've been working on mine for about 37 years right now. So no judgment zone, right? It's just about the money we can donate. But let's take a look at the drivers who are preparing to race. This is a live look at the Zoom. You can see, again, we talked about the mix. There will be a good mix today, Rusty, because you have some of the drivers that are using the pedals, using the steering wheel. Some are using the controllers. And again, a lot of these guys haven't competed against each other in the formal race. They've been practicing against each other all weekend. But you see this crew right here. What immediately jumps out? What are you anticipating?
Yeah, I can kind of see the Pro League drivers laying back, kind of relaxed. They've been through this, kind of feel the emotions before, so they're just kind of just vibing right now, whereas the guys that are new to this, that are maybe on the controller, they might have the nerves a little bit ramped up. They're a little excited. They don't really know what to expect because it's different when you're racing in the main show, the main event with the bright lights on, as opposed to being in a public lobby or maybe in an offline league race. So when you're out there and you got the camera on, the pressure's on, and I think you can see that looking in at some of these drivers right now.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, let's get to the race details because, as we said, we are running around the Monster Mile, virtual Dover International Speedway for the Movember 50. 50 laps around the Monster Mile this afternoon. 2 pace laps included on that before we get started. 3 times the tire wear, low draft, full damage out there. The pit window, 22 to 23 laps. We will see at least 1 pit stop for fuel.
And we're looking at the first of 2 pace laps here today, but you said it, 3 times tire wear, full damage, and these cup cars are a beast to handle, so these guys have really got to manage that tire wear, especially that right rear as the run goes on. Like, the fuel window is 23 laps, so these guys really got to save their stuff to keep that speed in the car throughout the race.
Yeah, and look, we're seeing the lineup right now in that beautiful number 12. That's Thomas Kohik, who is on the pole, and again, the lineup was made by the number of donations they were able to raise. So you see it, Thomas Kohik and Joey Stone on the front row because they each raised more than $1,200 for Movember. Second row there, Maxwell Castro and Jordan Dewarsik making 3rd and 4th.
And in row 3, we have a defending race winner in Kyle Arnold alongside Matt Smith. And in row 4, the season 1 champion Brandon Gritton. Keep an eye on that guy. And next to him is Keith McConnell.
All right, rounding out the top 10, Josh Parker and Dylan Kenninger. Again, everybody, all the competitors raising money for Movember as we get set to take the green flag here on virtual Dover. We're off. 50 laps at the Monster Mile. Again, we heard a lot about the practice sessions, Rusty, about how crazy they were. They got to the first corner a little clean, but you can see Joey Stone there trying to get the lead and trying to get the lead early.
Yeah, turn 2 is probably the trickiest spot on the track, as you saw them kind of pancake and exit 2, but Joey Stone is not wasting any time. This driver has not won in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, and today he's putting it all together to pick up his first career win in the Winter Heat Series, so he's not going to waste any time here. He wants to put that car out front and control the race. He has the experience, and he definitely has the car underneath him. He stayed up all late last night, getting the final tweaks, maybe adjusted the gear a little bit for maybe a fuel run late, but Joey Stone is prepared to take this victory here today.
Yeah, a big week for Joey Stone. If you're following these guys and you follow him on Twitch, you know that he made the decision to become a full-time streamer this week. So imagine making that decision, that big life decision, then going out and getting this victory today.
Yeah, he's got a lot of, I mean, that's a dream come true for Joey, but it is a little bit of distraction coming into a main event like this. So he's been streaming on the NASCAR Heat broadcast channel, putting on public lobbies with the fans and the community. So if you guys want to race with Joey and these other Pro League drivers, all you got to do is pick up a copy of NASCAR Heat 5, and it is on sale right now. Black Friday sales are live, but Joey is making contact early. He's pushing a little bit hard. He got a little bit of contact at the exit of 2, and that's what we're going to see throughout the race. The guys tend to wash up and get in the gas a little bit too hard on the exit of 2, and they pancake it. And turn 4, you'll see a little bit of different lines, but Joey is still right there. He's putting pressure on Kohik. Kohik misses the bottom, and if you want to keep the lead, you got to keep that thing tucked right on the bottom, but keeping it side by side of the exit 2 is one of the toughest things to do in this game, and they managed to get through there clean as Joey Stone takes the lead on lap 46 to go.
Yeah, this is a great battle for the lead. Again, 50 laps here at Dover. Give us an idea. You mentioned the contact. How sensitive are the cars? How sensitive is the racing when you do make that contact? For those of us that don't know that field, can't understand it, how sensitive is that damage?
You know, if you just give it a little kiss on the wall, it's not going to hurt you too bad. The way the game works, there's percentages of the damage on your car, and it'll slow you down. Like if you get too much damage on it, it's really slowing you down, and it's really going to affect the handling of the car. Some of these guys will really tighten it up depending if they get hit on the nose or the rear of the car. So they really want to avoid getting damage at all costs. But it is important to point out when they come down pit road, they do have the ability to make repairs to the car so the car can get back to about 100% health and where the car was coming into the race.
Yeah, remember that pit window coming up here soon? Oh, big crash. A significant crash. That reminds me of the Joey Logano roll that we once saw a few years ago at the Big Real Dover. That was interesting, Rusty.
Yeah, I'd like to see a replay of that maybe down later in the broadcast because I've raced a lot of times at Dover and it's not an everyday occurrence that you're barrel rolling down the track there. So I want to see what driver that is. I want to know where they stack up. But this caution plays into a completely different strategy of the race. Now the fuel just completely goes out the window. They're going to come down here, probably top off. Some guys will probably stay out, but I think they're going to come down here, take tires, and set themselves up for a one-stop race to the end of the race.
Yeah, this strategy, this caution, you mentioned it. I mean, we talk about the practice laps they make, but they can also practice the strategy, correct?
Yes, so a lot of the guys, they prepare for every situation, whether it's a fully trimmed out, just qualifying lap pace. If they do that, they can make about 22 laps, but they also practice running at about kind of 3/4 throttle around the racetrack, so they can make about 27, 28 laps around the racetrack. So these guys, they come prepared for every situation. So with 40 to go, they're just going to let this thing rip and go completely all out because that's what the strategy is set up for them right now.
Yeah, back to green with 40 to go. You can see Joey Stone didn't have the best restart there, got a little jump out, and now you have the number 1 car out front of Castro trying to take the lead and take it away. Joey Stone manages to work back up to second, but some of these drivers that we saw do well in practice are holding their own now here in the race.
Yeah, and it's very impressive to see that. We talked about it's one thing to do it in practice, but it's another thing to actually go out there on the racetrack when you feel the pressure. When you see Josh Hartman get up on your bumper, when a big time driver like that is pressuring you, it takes a lot to get back into a groove. And you're going to see the 12 try to get in line here right behind him, but you got to brush it off. Just forget about it and move on because there's still a long ways to go. But you guys, you can see them hugging the very bottom line. We're right on board with Max Castro. He has won in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, so he has the confidence, he has the ability to get the job done, and he's going to be very hard to pass. He keeps it so smooth, he's so clean. He's a little bit of a road course ringer, so for him to put this thing out front of Dover is really impressive, but there's still a lot of time. Joey's right there on his back bumper. This whole field is just separated by half a car length all the way back. Where you're seeing this action right in front of the car here. We see the 12. 12, this is one of the qualifier drivers. He's maybe letting the pressure get to him a little bit. The moment get to him, he's got to kind of, like we talked about, settle down, breathe, get in line, get that track position. He's probably got to pull in behind Cody Giles here, but he's fighting hard on the outside here as they head off into turn 1.
Rusty, this is ultra aggressive for Dover, the high speeds of this track. I mean, looks like we have caution on the speedway, maybe because of some of that aggression, but this is surprising me seeing this track on the NASCAR Heat section for the first time.
Yeah, you got to be aggressive here at Dover. It's so tough to pass, and if a little window opens up, you got to stuff your nose in there. So you see these guys right on each other, back bumping, and they're just flying, ripping these laps. We talked about it with the strategy out there. They're putting down qualifying laps every lap, so they're going as hard and as fast as they can, and it's a short race. We only have 36 to go, so if you're about 5th, 6th on back, you got to put the pressure on and work your way forward right now if you're going to try to win this race.
Yeah, I talk a lot about restarts and skills in the Cup Series. Hey, Maxwell Castro just took the lead on that last restart. Joey Stone, not the best restart. It lost the lead, but those were impressive few laps from Castro in that beautiful number 1 car. He will restart as the leader with about 33 laps to go. But as you said, Maxwell Castro racing out of Sacramento, California right now, 27 years old, racing for Chip Ganassi Racing, proudly putting that car out front right now.
Yeah, we head back to green here. I'm curious if these guys are going to up the aggression even more here. They're just nose to tail. But we're right on board here with Joey Stone, with Josh Parker on his outside. Makes a little bit of contact. That's okay. That's just racing at Dover when you get up through the gears here, coming to your first full-speed lap. But you can hear the RPMs. Joey drove that car way down into turn 3 as far as you can go. The thing was just absolutely pegged. So these guys are going as fast as they can right now. And the running order did get shuffled up a little bit right there under yellow. Some guys did come down and pit. So the order is mixed up. We see Josh Hartman out there out front with Kyle Arnold. Those are 2 Pro League drivers. They're going to be tough to beat. Yeah, Kyle Arnold, he is a race winner. He's had a lot of bad luck, but he's going to be in position, I think, through the end of this race for the win. But you can see them. These guys are 2 by 2, about 5th or 6th on the racetrack. They're not giving an inch right now. Joey's feeling a little bit of pressure from Josh Parker still on his outside, but these guys are absolutely going for it here. I love this action we're seeing at Dover.
Yeah, excuse my naivete, gamers. I missed some of those pit stops. But Rusty, explain that. We now have differing strategies on the racetrack. What does that mean to these guys?
So depending on where you are in the racetrack, how much fuel you got in the car, or how much tire wear you have, it's going to determine. I guess the big thing is how many laps are left in the race, and you're trying to set up yourself to be in position with track position at the end of this race. And some guys, they might have used their stuff up, and they thought maybe we'll come down, get some tires, or maybe they think we're going to see more yellows, and they're planning for more yellows. That was the narrative kind of coming out of practice, was we're probably going to see a lot of yellow. So maybe they're planning for that, just putting themselves in position for another yellow or two to come out. So guys are just kind of taking track position as they can, and they play a little bit of games when they come down pit road when the caution comes out. You can see on the graphic on your screen, it looks like we're under yellow once again right here. So these guys can play games with each other. So they'll wait to the last second to pull down pit road, or they'll just peel off and stay on the racetrack. So there's just a lot of gamesmanship going on right now between these drivers.
Yeah, and talking with a few of these drivers, they said pit road and minimizing or really maximizing your time, if you will, on pit road could make a huge difference. It was impressive to see Josh Harbin out front out there, an open qualifier coming into this race. The Alabama driver, he's actually one of the first people I ever talked to, Rusty, about the NASCAR world and the gaming world. Gave me a lot of good insight. That 95 car's been practicing all week and just told me how tough it would be to pass. Perhaps a bit of strategy to get him out there and get him some track position.
Yeah, Josh Harbin, he has all the experience in the world. He's got all the confidence in the world, too. I think he's one of the most clutch drivers in the NASCAR heat community. So if he sees an opportunity to get the lead, he's definitely going to go out there and take it. But Josh Harbin is one of the most charismatic drivers. So if you're looking for a guy with a big personality, that's your guy you want to pull for. He's aggressive, but he races fair and clean. As you see him make an aggressive move down into third place, right on the bottom, as he's looking to take second place away from Kohik.
Yeah, now Josh Parker in that number 18 car, reminds you of Kyle Busch out there. You got the practice report, and he was one of the better cars in practice, and now he finds himself out front just as we're about to hit halfway in this race. Again, the different strategies. Some people pitted, helped put him out front. Now the 18 is out front, right in front of Josh Harbin.
Yeah, Josh Parker is one of the strongest drivers towards the end of the Pro League Season 2. He's very confident. He practices all forms of racing games. He's on the simulator. He's putting in laps in NASCAR heat. But right now, we're right on board with Josh Harbin. He's just kind of cruising right now in second. If you were to key up his radio, I bet he'd say he's got him right where he wants him. He's just in that perfect spot. You want to be kind of in that top 3 range there late in the race, but Josh Harbin is kind of saving his tires, using a little bit of the draft to kind of limit the wear on his tires. Look at him. You get a nice low exit down the straightaway out the exit too. He's just going to put pressure on Josh here. You can see he's just intimidating him a little bit. He's channeling his Dale Earnhardt right there. He's definitely using the intimidate button right now. He's putting pressure on Josh, let him know he's here. I love seeing this driving out of Josh Harbin. He's ready to go and take this thing to the lead.
I love the detail we see in these cars, especially coming off to how wild and how wiggly these cars get, as we have a great battle for the lead right now. Josh Harbin trying to chase down Josh Parker. That's the view from the 12 car. That was our pole setter, Thomas Kohik, who had made some progress back up toward the front, now dropping the wrong way with about 23 laps to go. Rusty, I got to tell you, Motorsports Games and ITC St. Pete are giving away high-performance portal EV routers. Worry-free Wi-Fi with extended coverage and 9 built-in antennas. This will allow you to have a 99.99 lag and latency-free Wi-Fi experience. No more fighting over Wi-Fi. Follow the rules. Go to the NASCAR Heat Twitter page. Look for the post and just follow those rules for your chance to win. As we get back here to the action, we actually have a lead change. Josh Harbin back in the lead in the 95 car.
Josh Harbin, he's unbelievable. We talked about how clutch he is. He's going to be very hard to pass. He'll make that car really wide. We've seen it at every track that he's taken the lead at. It's going to be almost impossible to get by him unless you put the bumper to him and really boot him up out of the way, and that's what you're going to need to do. So Williamson, if you want to get by Josh Parker, yeah, pressure is maybe going to work, but I think you're going to have to just send it on him late in the race. We still have 20 to go, so he does have the opportunity for Josh to make a mistake, but just keep putting the pressure on him and be there at the end like we talked about. We see Josh Parker fade a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of contact for the lead as he's now back in about 5th spot. So Josh Parker, he's not out of it yet. Just getting into a groove. You see Joey Stone right in front of him. These guys are just getting settled. I know there is 19 to go, but they're just trying to put in these fast laps and hit their marks and be in position late, because anything can happen, especially if the leaders make contact for the lead.
Yeah, one thing Josh Harbin stressed to me this week was what you need for tire management and patience. I can't imagine it's easy to be patient when you are out front in front of this field and the whole field trying to get by you. But I would say pound for pound, we've had something of a clean race so far, just the 2 cautions, and everyone just trying to maybe save their stuff, but also, factor in what could come in these next 18 laps.
Yeah, it's kind of cool watching the different lines these guys take. Through 1 and 2, you really want to be on the bottom, just kind of wrapping it around there, hugging the bottom. But through 3 and 4, you can take a couple different approaches into it. You can diamond it and kind of sail up and then carve down off the bottom of 4, or you can just kind of maybe take the middle groove and just kind of rip around there. But you just have a variety of options in turn 3 as the yellow comes out once again. So this might shake up the running order big time. I'm curious what the leaders are going to do. But this caution could change the game.
Yeah, we're getting a look at Chase Williamson there, who has run his way up. Remember, he started about 22nd in this race, and now he is battling for the lead. It should be interesting to see what this caution does in terms of strategy to shake up the lineup on what very well could be the final restart. But we're seeing some strong cars remain to be at the front of the field regardless of the caution situation, regardless of the strategy. Josh Harvin leading a lot of laps here out front in the Movember 50. Again, if you have a moment, feel free to donate, NASCARheat.com/donate. Everything going toward a good cause. We've already raised more than $10,000 today for Movember. Motorsports Games going to match some of that with a $5,000 donation of its own. Rusty, good race so far. We're about 13 laps to go when we hit the green. It's going to be a great run to the finish.
Yeah, the end of this race is going to be insane. I think very dramatic. These guys are planning like this is the last restart of the race, like you talked about. And the 12 car, he did start on pole. He's finding himself back in traffic. We're right on board with Josh Williamson. I got to talk about Josh. He won an all-star event at Homestead about a year ago. So this guy has experience when the bright lights are on. Williamson does perform. And I've been told he is a protege of one of the Pro League drivers, the season 1 champion, Brandon Gritton. So he's probably helped out Williamson to get that set up, get some extra laps, and get him comfortable to race up there with these guys. But Williamson came in through the qualifiers, but he has arrived. He's putting his name in there to show that he belongs with these Pro League drivers here at Dover.
This top 5 is quite impressive. We're seeing the cream sort of rise to the top, right? Harvin leading all the laps, Williamson coming from the back, Castro has led laps, Parker certainly, Joey Stone started up front. We're seeing a heck of a top 5. Just 10 laps to go at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, these guys in the top 5, top 6, top 7 even, these are the best drivers on PlayStation 4. This is where they were running in the Pro League race. They're proven, they're just backing up their ability. They do it time and time again. These guys just rise to the occasion. They somehow put themselves in the perfect position to be in contention at these races. But just look at this. Williamson, was thinking about sending it down below Maxwell Castro. Gives him a little bit of a bump, and he's going to get a nice run off the exit of 2. Let's see if he can keep it clean off him. Oh, but he's going to have to pull in behind Maxwell Castro, work on his back bumper here again as we're coming to about 9 to go.
If you're going to make your move, if you're going to make your bump, you're running out of laps to do it. So you have to start doing it. And that aggression we're going to start seeing. I think the best view is that 95 of Harvin because no one is on his bumper right now. The best defense, right, is an overwhelming offense, they say in sports. And he is driving away from 2nd and 3rd place right now.
Yeah, we saw Maxwell Castro play a little bit of that defense heading off into turn 1. He pulled low down the front stretch to tell Williamson, you're not going to take this on me right now. You don't have a big enough run. It shows a little bit of the inside again right there, playing a little bit of defense. But Castro's got to look forward and set his sights on the bear, Josh Harvin. But the bear, like we talked about, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's about as clutch as it gets. He's going to make that car really, really wide. So you're going to have to move if you're going to get by him, I think. But yeah, we're right on board with Josh Harvin right there. He's just cruising. I would just love to hear what's going through his mind right now, but he's just confident. He's got all the confidence in the world. And Maxwell Castro is thinking about it as we're coming to 8 to go.
Yeah, Rusty, bring me the mindset. You're a driver here, though, of the 1 car, Maxwell Castro. He's trying to play defense, but also catch one of the best in this series right now by looking out front. What do you pay attention to? It's got to be so hard to be in that 2nd place spot right now.
Yeah, I think it depends on we're seeing Maxwell Castro take a little bit of a peek. I don't know if he's going to send it here, but I think it really depends on the driver and who you're racing. A lot of the guys, they race how they race each other. So if you have an equal amount of respect for each other, you're not going to really. Oh, we're seeing a little bit of contact right there. Maxwell Castro's letting the bear know I'm there. I'm going forward, and we see it. He's trying to make a move for the lead, coming down the front stretch.
Off the corner, down the front stretch. This is where we were going to see a lot of passes. That's what I heard coming into this race. Maxwell Castro makes the pass, makes it clean, gets out front. We'll see what Harvin can do as he gets, in the wall a little bit, getting railroaded back. 6th, 5th, going the wrong way after leading a bunch. Only 5 laps to go. Maxwell Castro in the lead and driving away. Let's see if anybody can attack that 1 car right now. We still have the 78 of Chase Williamson, who started this race in the back. Again, just 4 laps to go. Is there enough time for the 78 to catch the 1? That was an excellent setup, pass, and move for Castro to take this lead, Rusty.
Yeah, absolute textbook pass for the lead to put himself in position to win the race. Made a little bit of contact, but that's okay. It was just a little baby kiss to kind of root him up off the bottom and just drive past him underneath him on the bottom. And you saw what happened when Josh Harvin got on the outside. He just got kind of freight trained there, and he's fallen way, way back. But Williamson, like we talked about, he has experience in these big events, so he's going to be it's, I mean, it's not over till it's over, but he's going to have to get there really quick because we're coming to 2 to go. Maxwell Castro has a perfect amount of lead. I don't think there's enough time for him to blow it, but you never know. Maxwell Castro, just unbelievable performance.
Yeah, almost more than a half-second lead now for Maxwell Castro as we're coming to the white flag on the backstretch here at the Monster Mile, the Movember 50. If he can hang on, this will be a victory well earned for the young California driver. White flag out in Dover for the first race in the Winter Heat Series. Remember, the top 3 of this race move on automatically to the final race in Daytona in February. Down the backstretch, it doesn't look like the 78 of Williamson has anything for him. Here they come through 3 and 4. Some lap traffic in front of Castro can just navigate this. He will take the checkered flag in the Movember 50. Look at the celebration. Double fist pump for Maxwell Castro. Take a drink, man. What is that? Some Monster Energy there? Drink it in. Victory. He has no steering wheel. I love it. I love the real world celebration from the e-gamers. This is awesome. What a run for Maxwell Castro.
Yeah, very impressed with Maxwell Castro. I love the passion, the celebration. Every time he puts that thing in victory lane, he puts on a show. Can't wait to talk to the guy, but holy cow. We saw a crazy kind of battle through the entire race of that event. The PlayStation 4 drivers, multiple leaders, cautions that changed strategy. Just impressive for Maxwell Castro to pass Josh Harper to get that lead and hang on late. That was a great race.
That was cool. Look, I'm new to this. You're the expert here, so just explain to me. I mean, but from what I saw in my eyes, I mean, the skill, the setup that it took, the patience that it took, all of that played a factor into Maxwell getting the lead right there. That is the result of practice. That is the result of being quite good at this.
Yeah, these guys, honestly, they make it look way easier than it actually is because when they're like an inch off each other's bumper and they're flying at qualifying pace, I'm just thoroughly impressed for how clean it was up front for the race win. And Maxwell Castro was there and he was perfect all day.
All right. What else impressed you about that run? Because again, we saw the cream start to rise. We saw some of the big names. I mean, Josh Harbin held him off for as long as he could. But once that pass hit, it looked like maybe there was some contact, went the wrong way. Anything surprise you about this first race?
You know, not too much. The Pro League drivers rose to the top, but you got to give a special shot to Chase Williamson for him to get this opportunity through the qualifiers to actually go out there and perform and be in contention for the win. That's most impressive to me because, like we talked about, when the bright lights are on, the pressure's a little bit different. So Chase Williamson put on an unbelievable show, brought it home second.
That was fun. I mean, look, Dover in itself is already an exciting track, and then bring it into the NASCAR heat world. That was crazy to me. So, I mean, just to see how realistic it was and the payoff of the skill of these drivers, it was just great to see. So let's check out the results because we deserve to show everybody, just exactly how well everyone did. Maxwell Castro getting the win. Chase Williamson, a close second, followed by Cody Giles, Josh Parker, and Dylan Penninger. What do you think of the top 5 there?
And we got a lot of Pro League drivers. It's about 50-50. Josh Parker and Maxwell Castro, which separated with Chase Williamson and Dylan Penninger. I'm not familiar with Dylan, never raced with the guy, but that is, once again, a very strong and impressive run from that guy. Also from Matt Smith. Joe West, I've raced with him. Shout out to Joe. Cool for him to get a top 10. I know he's going to be really excited about that.
Yeah, Joey Stone started early up front in the race, but kind of fell backwards there. I'm sure he wanted a little more. Jordan Dewarsick finishing 9th. Avery Jarrett rounding out the top 10. Keith McDonald in 11th. And then we have the rounding out the top 16 there. Again, a good mix, Rusty. We had 14 open qualifiers, 10 Pro Series drivers, and 24 drivers in total. And I think we had a good mix between who was running up front and Josh Harbin. Surprising there, Rusty, falling all the way back to 18th at the end of that race.
Yeah, I see a lot of heavy hitters back there. Josh Harbin, Mike Bross, Trey Normal, Brandon Gritton, Kyle Arnold. Those are the best drivers on PlayStation 4. So just unfortunate race for them today. I know they're not going to be happy, but sometimes it just happens when the racing is that hard, a competitive event over. That's a really hard track.
Yeah, and I love learning more about these drivers, where they're from, the age ranges. I think, in today's, between both races, we have drivers all the way from Florida to Alaska, I think New York to Southern California. And it's just the magnitude and the diversity of all these drivers across the United States coming together to show their skills. This was fun to watch here in Dover.
And it's cool. Anybody at home can get involved with this. The second Winter Heat Series race is coming up. So you can just pick up a copy of the game. You can get in the qualifiers so you can race with these Pro League drivers and some of these other drivers you're seeing race here today.
All right, hoping to have Maxwell. Do we have Maxwell? Are we going to be able to talk to him? There he is. Maxwell, how you doing?
Oh man, dude, I'm doing great. I just won.
All right, we got the thumbs up. Hey, that, you know, I'm still getting into this. I'm brand new at watching the skill you had to have, the setup you had to make, and the patience you had to make that winning pass. Tell me about it, because that comes with a lot of practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Josh Harbin is an excellent racer, a good friend of mine, and I just knew I had to beat him to get the win, and I gave him a little bump, let him know I was there, and then there was a hole. I put my nose in it, and we got close, and we raced side by side, and from that point on, I was able to just put in qualifying laps and just hold on and just nail it and get that win, man. Woo!
Maxwell, I gotta ask, what did the race pace feel like out there? It looked like everybody was just ripping these qualifying laps, and you guys were just an inch off each other. It just looked like a different style of race than I've ever seen in NASCAR Heat, and it was just incredibly competitive up front, but also clean. So just talk to me about what that felt like to race like that.
Oh, it was insane, man. I mean, these are clearly the fastest guys around, and literally you had to nail every lap perfectly. You had to hit your line perfectly, or else you're going to get passed or moved or just dumped. I mean, these guys, it is the fastest. There's nobody faster, and to be able to come out on top is incredible. It was amazing. I don't think I've ever been in a race quite like this, to have a whole field of cars this fast.
Wow, well, that makes me excited to see the next race and the next few. We know we'll see you in February. I'm sure we'll see you before that here, you know, in the Winter Heat Series. But Maxwell Castro, congrats on the Movember 50 victory. Great celebration. I hope you enjoy the week, man. Be well.
Woo! Thank you, guys.
Double fist bump. The double fist bump. That's just what they're showing us, Rusty. I can't imagine how he's celebrating now. You know, if they break out the champagne or the Monster Energy and start making a mess at home. I worry about what their house may look like after a big victory like this.
He does have a history. He's not shy. He's not afraid to rip open the Monster and spray it around the whole room. He's done it before. We saw rip off the wheel. He loves to win. He loves to celebrate. And Chip Ganassi Gaming, I'm sure they're loving this too at the shop. So unbelievable performance from Maxwell Castro. So happy for him. So proud of him. It's just cool to see guys execute and perform on a stage like this.
Yeah, big win. What are your takeaways from that race in general? I mean, he just mentioned every lap had to be a qualifier, right? I mean, every lap had to be perfect. What do you think of an environment like that these guys have to perform in?
Yeah, once that first caution came, I kind of had a feeling the intensity would ramp up, but just to see them actually rip those qualifying laps, and like we talked about, you could just see it, how they drove into the corner, and just the fact that they were able to do that for the entire race, just, I'm telling you, it blows me away. I've never seen a race ever like that in NASCAR Heat. Just the speed and the just everything about that competition was unbelievable.
All right, race 1 of the Movember 50 Winter Heat Series is in the books. Of course, all this brought to you by NASCAR Heat. And back here makes a great gift for anybody, especially if you don't have one yet or get those updates. I just saw Ryan Vargas the other day at they were doing the next gen test over at the Roval, and saw him in his paint scheme. So I'm glad they added him to the game, Rusty.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool paint schemes in NASCAR, but that Ryan Vargas one is very special, but also every Jimmy Johnson paint scheme from his final season is in the game. They're all out right now, so if you want to race in Jimmy's final ride, they got that. If you want to drive Noah Sweet's design, it's in the game. So the NASCAR Heat community's got a lot of fun paint schemes they can drive in the game.
That's cool. They keep it updated. Maybe I can lobby them for some of the more classic schemes. To maybe join some throwback Rusty Wallace via 1994. I'm just laying it out there, guys. That's all I'm doing. So that's just me.
I would love to see the '89 car in there too, man. That he's got a lot of hot rods. So the MGD car, I would love that. But we do have Tony Stewart in the game, so we do have some legends and Jeff Gordon as well. So maybe in future download content, we'll get Rusty in there, hopefully.
Absolutely. And let's get back to the racing because look, these are our Xbox drivers, the live Zoom. Again, this is a mix of Pro Series drivers along with some open qualifiers. So there will be a mix of drivers that have never raced each other before. You can see, shouting out some friends there. Again, some on the wheel. NASCAR for Dummies. That's a good one to read right there. Very funny. But yeah, some up on the wheel, some on the pedals, some using controllers. It's the Winter Heat Series, so it's a good mix. We already had one race under our belts. Now we're getting to the Xbox crew. Let's look at the race details in case you're just joining us here on the broadcast. But we are going to virtual Dover, the Monster Mile, for the Movember 50. Again, all about raising money for a good cause. 1 mile around on the track, obviously. 50 laps plus the 2 pace laps there at Dover. 3 times the tire wear. And they have the pit window. We can't forget, 22 to 23 laps. That's important, as we saw in that first race with the differing strategies, how the cautions play out, and when they go in. Making the pace laps now. Rusty, the Xbox crew about to take over.
I'm so happy we get to do this again. We get another race. This is we're just so lucky to be here. But Matthew Selby's on the front row with Tyler Dohar. They raised the most money for Movember.
Yeah, followed by Justin Brooks and Elijah White. Again, all the numbers you see under there, that's the amount of money people have donated to their Movember donations. Just great to see. As we look at the rest of the starting lineup here, Daniel Botafuco, Connor Cordes make up row 3 there. Row 4, Cody Kelly, Jordan Bain. 2 pace laps here getting ready. Jeff No, Casey Kelly, $141. I mean, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars raised for Movember. As we're just a few, about a half mile away or so from taking the green flag here again in Dover, Rusty.
Yeah, these guys, I'm curious how they're going to race because we just saw a wild one on the PlayStation 4 side. So maybe they'll try to take it a little bit easy, head off into the first couple laps, but maybe they're going to go full send and we're going to see these guys go for it. But just interested to see how these guys take care of each other in the opening laps.
Full send, the best 2 words in racing, especially when we can see the action and we don't have to worry about getting wrecked or anything. But that's Matthew Selby in the 4 car, started on the pole. Also, though, one of the best in practice when you hear the practice report. So you expect big things, especially early. But what we saw in that first race is you need to have some patience. You need to have some strategy. We'll see what that 4 car can do out front early.
Yeah, Matthew Selby, he's definitely got to show us some patience. He has a history of being a little bit aggressive and for keeping the perspective underneath him while he's driving that steering wheel. He tends to forget how long the races are, but he's got this thing out front. But a question is for how long. He has Justin Brooks in P2. Justin Brooks had the best season in the history of the NASCAR Heat Pro League. He just dominated, just 6 wins on the season. Justin Brooks is going to be one of the competitors today. We're taking a look at some of the action in the back of the pack. He's just working his way down to the bottom here, pulling in line, and that's what you need to do. You need to get in a groove and settle and just start clicking laps here. And but he's not settling. He's taking a little peek there on the inside.
Yeah, good stuff through the field as we look for a potential battle for the lead right now. As you were saying, Brooks trying to all over the bumper, high and low as they go in down to turn 1, come off that corner, and this is where we're going to see the passes get made. You can see Matthew Selby trying to hang on there. Great view from that camera, but that's what I heard talking to the drivers, Rusty, is that setting him up off of, say, turn 2 or turn 4, the passes will be made down the front stretch, because once you get down to those corners, it's so important, it's so tough to stick down there and make the pass in the corner.
Yeah, when you send it off in there, it's really kind of tight, and you're just yanking the car around the corner, and you kind of the goal is to aim to get your car pointed off straight off the exit of the corner so you can get that nice, strong run at the exit. But also, if you can somehow get your nose underneath the guy, like we saw Justin Brooks do, and we saw Maxwell Caster do with the race-winning move, if you can get your nose under them on the exit of the corner, it's fair game to kind of move them up out of the way, and it kind of makes them have to lift so they don't hit the wall and get damage to the car. So Justin Brooks was not wasting any time to get around Matthew Selby. We saw Matthew Selby show a little bit of disappointment himself for maybe not leading more laps than he anticipated today, but Justin Brooks is the best in the business, and same for this whole field. Matthew Selby, Tyler Dohar, Season 2 champion, Daniel Buttafuoco, these guys all are the best on the Xbox side, and they're putting on a show right now.
Yeah, you can see the concentration there from Justin Brooks as he makes a pretty healthy lead that we haven't seen so far today here in the Movember 50. But now, look, there's more competitors coming for him. The 88 of Tyler Dohar trying to make that pass on the 4 car as he set him up. You know, we saw him, patience, set him up for a few laps. I was talking with Tyler earlier this week, via Twitter, and he was just saying how important it would be to set up those quality passes. You can't just go in there and be aggressive. You can't just go in there and make these quick passes and think they're going to work out. It took him a few laps, but look, he was able to get past, get into second, and now he can pursue and try to run down Brooks for the lead.
Yeah, Tyler Dohar is one of the most respectful and clean racers out there, so he will work on a guy, work on his bumper, and set up the pass to make it as clean as possible, as we saw right there on the exit of turn 4. But yeah, Matthew Selby is falling back a little bit. Tires are probably falling off, but also he's stuck on the outside groove there, and he doesn't really have anywhere to go. See if he's going to pull down here to get a spot. Oh, he missed the entry into the corner, but it looks like he's still going to be able to hang on there and pull back in line. But yeah, early on, Justin Brooks, this is what he does, but I think he's going to take a peek in his rearview mirror in the coming laps. Daniel Buttafuoco, the Season 2 champ, is coming, and he will put pressure on Justin Brooks as the race progresses here.
And again, for some of us that are maybe watching for the first time, that 4 car, Rusty, aggressive early, fast laps early, but the tire wear, it does play a factor, and it plays a factor in performance, right?
Yeah, so when you're burning up that right rear, when you're getting on the gas a little bit too early, you're exiting the corner sideways, you're shredding that right rear tire, and that just costs you a lot of speed in the corners and the exit of the corner the whole way down the front stretch. You don't want to be tearing up that thing, so you've got to be really, really, really patient and take care of that right rear. We've seen these guys drive down into the corner really straight, really smooth. We're taking a look at Tyler Dohar here. He does it pretty much perfectly. No rear tire spin, just gets off the 4 nice and clean. That's what he does down into turn 1. It's got to just is a little bit higher than you want to be, but you see him carve down on the exit of turn 2, and that's how I like to get around over, is kind of pull down on the exit of 2 and get that run down the front stretch. But look, he's got that thing in a tough spot. As a caution comes out, we got a caution.
Yeah,
Alan, this
caution.
is coming at another interesting time.
First caution, 11 laps into this race. We saw it in the first race with the PS4, how these early cautions kind of switched up strategy and put different drivers, different teams on different strategies. So we might see a lineup shakeup right here as we see who may come in and may make their pit stop now. Again, this changes everything up. But track position did matter a lot in that first race. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens here with this first caution, 12 laps into the race. We should go green, with about, 35 so laps to go. So that will play a factor. We see some damage here, I believe, from one of the competitors, maybe the cause of the caution as they try to sort the field out. And here we go, lined up, and I think we'll take the green with 35 to go, Rusty.
Yeah, Matthew Selby really wanted that caution, so he's probably putting 4 tires, maybe a little bit of adjustment on the car to battle through traffic. Matthew Selby really wanted the yellow, but we're going green with 36 laps to go. Tyler Dohar has got that thing out front with Daniel Buttafuoco, Justin Brooks right behind him.
Good run, Dohar. If this is all about track position, he's got the best spot right there, but Brooks not giving up so easily, already trying to get one as they dive there into 3. But you see, just missing that one corner just a bit allows Dohar to get a gap on the field. Oh, as we see a crash back there, maybe no caution, but definitely some aggressive racing. I think this is going to bring out the caution, Rusty.
Yeah, the yellow's definitely coming out here as it flies right there. Yeah, contact in about the middle part of the pack. When you get sent down to the inside of the racetrack, sometimes you kind of bank off the inside and come up into the racetrack and collect the whole field. And we saw the field kind of collect their head off into turn 1. So our first big one of the day comes with 34 to go in this Xbox race.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually true, but they say cautions breed cautions, and we've just seen them back to back. While we have a moment, let me just say Motorsports Games and ITC St. Peter giving away high-performance portal EV routers, worry-free Wi-Fi with extended coverage, and 9 built-in antennas. This will allow you to have 99.99% lag and latency-free Wi-Fi experience. No more fighting over Wi-Fi. Go to the NASCAR Heat Twitter page, look for the post, and follow the rules for your chance to win. I'm getting another look there at Matthew Selby as we get ready to line them up again. Again, we'll hit about 30 laps to go into this 50-lap Movember 50 here at Dover. Tyler Dohar is still out there out front. Ricky, with the 37 car out there on the outside, taking the lead as we go into that first turn. This has been a battle so far up front between that 88 and the 37.
Yeah, I think the intensity is about to pick up pretty heavily right here as you see Daniel Buttafuoco right there. Oh, look at him wheel that thing off into the corner. He's hanging on, but Justin Brooks putting pressure on. I think this is going to be an unbelievable show for the race win. These two, we talked about, Justin Brooks, most race wins. Daniel Buttafuoco, Season 2 champion. These guys know how to win races, and they know how to do it cleanly. So watch them try to get past Tyler Dohar here, but Tyler Dohar is making that car wide. He's like telling Justin, you're not throwing it underneath me and dive bombing me right now. We still got a long ways to go, but keep an eye on just Justin Brooks. You see, nice one out of the He's already lead underneath Tyler Dohar.
Yeah, three-way battle for the lead right now, especially Buttafuoco in that number 13, the pride of New Jersey, as he looks to go maybe even further and try to go from second to first. But he was telling me this is one of the hardest tracks to race on in all of the circuit. So slick, he said about Dover, and then you have to balance the speed with the handling. But look where he is right now, second place, really trying to go for the lead, trying to get Brooks. A tight battle in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, these Cup cars really show the skill gap in the driving ability with these drivers. It's just, like you said, it just gets really slick. As the tires wear off, they make it really tough to handle. So you got to be really precise, really smooth to save the tire, but also make sure you get a good run off the corners. We got another yell. These cautions keep flying here. So kind of like what we saw in the PlayStation 4 race, this could really shake up the track position with 26 to go. I think guys are going to come down and at least top off on fuel so they don't have to come in the rest of the way. But look for a shake up here in the running order.
Rusty, I'm excited by these cautions. Every time we get a caution, it seems like these short runs get more and more intense, as we go. So, look, not that I'm rooting for cautions here, man, but look, we're seeing good racing up front when they do have to line them up again.
Yeah, I kind of want this thing to go green selfishly because there's a little bit of history between Brooks and Buttafuoco. At the championship race at Bristol, Buttafuoco used a little bit of the bumper to get by Brooks to win that championship. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a little bit of drama between these two guys. They still have a little bit of disagreement on how that race played out. So we're setting ourselves up for, I think, an interesting and dramatic finish between Brooks and Buttafuoco.
And let's not forget, look, there is money on the line. This is all part of a $47,000 prize pool for the Winter Heat Series. And so this is serious stuff going on, and race car drivers, do not forget. As we go green again, you can see some of the mix-up. Brooks out there in the lead, but some of his other challengers mixed up via their pitting strategy. Now we have some other contenders up front as Tyler Dohar tries to get back out front and get Brooks once again and try to get that lead, but Brooks a healthy lead at the moment.
Yeah, that was a really impressive move by Justin Brooks on the outside of the restart. He drove it off down in turn 1 and cleared the leader. It went around him on the outside. That's almost impossible to do, but Brooks pulled it off and he did it cleanly. Oh, as we see a car nail the wall in the back of the pack. We're still green, but Daniel Buttafuoco, he lost a lot of track position on pit road, and this yellow will help him, but he's got to work his way to the front and kind of battle his way forward after Justin Brooks kind of scooted away there under that short green flag run.
Yeah, caution once again, and we're seeing just how important these restarts are, but what they can do to get the track position that you need. And look, they're vital, and we're seeing this, especially the more cautions that we have. I mean, you got to be perfect on every single one. So for a driver like Brooks in that 37 car, I mean, the pressure has to be on every single time. How many times can you be perfect, Rusty, right? How many times can you do it perfectly to get the lead and then keep it just to have to do it again, 2 or 3 laps later? The mindset of a driver just has to be so focused.
Yeah, for your average driver, it's pretty tough to be perfect, but with Justin Brooks, he's the man. He rarely makes a mistake, and that's if you're going to take a guy to be on the front row to get these restarts done perfectly, Justin Brooks is probably your guy. There's no other guy you'd want than Justin Brooks. But you can see him, he's going to run up through the gears really strong right here. We saw him get that nice entry off into turn 1 on that previous restart. Let's see if he's able to pull away as he has the preferred line down into turn 1.
Yeah, look, pound for pound out front, like it has been much of the race, the 88 and the 37. So this should be a great run to the end with just 18 laps to go as they battle going in to turn 3. They're still side by side, trying to figure out who's going to get the win. Nobody out of this quite yet. The 13 car in 4th right there, Daniel Botafuco trying to get some of the real estate that he lost via some of those restarts and the pit strategy. But as we look out front, again, nose to nose, 1st through 3rd, 1st through 5th right now, trying to get that lead, but the cream has risen to the top once again. Brooks and Dohar out front.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to the driver in 3rd place, Elijah White, in that number 12 car. He made it in through the qualifiers, and he's up there racing with the best drivers in the Xbox. So this is just really impressive for him to be able to perform under the pressure and be there. Look, top 3, he's put pressure on Dohar, maybe looking to take away 2nd place here. We've been taking an onboard look at Jeff No here with the mustache. I love the look. He's locked
in. The ode to Movember. Don't forget, everybody, that's why we are here, to raise money for Movember, whether it's real or fake. I need one of those little mustaches as well. This is all for a good cause. We just happen to be getting great racing action out of it as well, as Brooks still maintains the lead. But again, that number 12, look at him. He's going under Tyler Dohar right now, trying to make his spot as an open qualifier, trying to show some of these Pro Series drivers what it's all about.
Yeah, Elijah White, you saw him kind of flash that nose down into turn 3. Didn't quite have enough run to send it off in there, but Tyler Dohar, you can play a little bit defense, and he can drive it in there deep as well and kind of sail up the racetrack to make it so the 12 can't even get to his bumper to move him out of the way. So you're seeing the 12. Look, he's flashing the nose once again, and he's faster, but Tyler Dohar is still really strong, and Tyler Dohar isn't even losing ground to Justin Brooks for the lead. So this is just the competition is just ratcheted up here. These guys are on top of each other from 1st all the way to about 7th place here. I'm just thoroughly impressed by the now.
Yeah, you mentioned that the driver in 7th place, the 42. Just watch that driver. The report out of practice was that he was very good and fast, so we can see what he can do as we end this race. It's just a matter of getting some of that track position. But up front, it's just about anybody's race, but we haven't seen many challengers to the 37, even though he is keeping it close right now. I've heard it's about patience. I've heard it's about kind of, saving your stuff and making sure you have it there at the end. But if you're the 37, you don't want to wait too long before you really put your foot down, that right pedal down, and drive away from the field.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a feel for what Justin Brooks is doing out front. He's just so smooth, so consistent. You don't see the car get sideways. We see the 12 car making a pass for 2nd place underneath Tyler Dohar. And do that very important. Which guy he wants to go behind to get a run off into turn 4 here, but a crazy battle for 2nd.
Yeah, you can see it, and that is allowing the 37 to get just a little bit of a gap, but such an impressive run, just showing you how hard it is to set up and make these passes. The 12 car, the driver, looks like it may be just a little bit better than that 88, but completing the pass is a total different thing rather than just catching him. But once you do make that pass, you have to wonder how far the 88 will go back as 2 cars get by, maybe 3 cars get by as they run toward the end. There's only 9 laps to go, and now Justin Brooks has a little bit of a gap, more than a half second on the field, as one of the open challengers, that 12 car, tries to chase him down. What a big victory that would be for that number 12 driver to go out and beat a driver like Justin Brooks. Daniel Botafuco not out of this as well. Only 9 laps to go still. You wonder if any more cautions are going to play into this as we hit now just 8 laps to go in the Movember 50, Rusty.
Yeah, the field's starting to spread out a little bit as the tire wear starts to play a factor into the racing here. So I think this thing might go green to the end, but also I may have just jinxed it. We'll see how it goes. But Elijah White, he is absolutely showcasing his talent on the top level for just everybody tuning in and watching. The teams, he could be a potential free agent pickup for season 3, but this is what you need to do as one of these open qualifier drivers, is to show what you can do against the best. And when you're out there battling Daniel Botafuco for 2nd with 7 to go, that's about as impressive as it gets for me. So I'm very, very impressed by Elijah White today, but Botafuco is into P2 as we're getting back to the Brooks and Botafuco battle for the win. 6 to go. Can he get him? I don't know.
Yeah, but I love seeing this, right? I love seeing the patience we saw from the 37, not gapping the field too much, and now look what happens at the end of the race. Oh, big move there for the 12. Hopefully that doesn't lead to a caution, but he's going the wrong way. But just what we're seeing out of the 37, we saw the patience, we saw the strategy. That's benefiting him now. Same thing with the 13 and Daniel Botafuco. As we get toward the end of this race, Some contenders are falling off. The cream, again, seems to be rising. Is it enough? Is there enough time? Who saved what? What strategy is playing out best? We're going to see that right now. Hey, the 37 not driving away from the 13 of Buttafuoco right now. I think it's getting even closer, and that 13 is coming, Rusty.
I was going to say, I think Buttafuoco is reeling in Brooks. I think he has a little bit fresher tires than the 37, but he's running out of time, so he's going to have to hit some perfect laps. So we're coming up on lap traffic. What are the lap cars going to do? Are they going to pull low like the 41 right there, or are they going to stay in the racing group and kind of slow up and trip up Justin Brooks? And it looks like that's kind of messing up Justin right here. So hopefully Justin can get by this guy, and we can have a nice, clean battle to the end here.
Yeah, just 3 laps to go as they cross the line. They are at the Monster Mile. The Movember 50, it's getting closer. This is going to be a great end to the race. Who has what? What can Daniel Buttafuoco do to catch the 37? This is...
He's right there.
He is right there as we come to, less than 3 laps to go. This is 2 of the best drivers throughout the day, and the gap is closing. What do you do if you're the 37? What can you do when that's coming in your rearview mirror?
Yeah, this is deja vu. We talked about Bristol. Buttafuoco moved the 37 out of the way, so anything could happen. The gloves could come off here with the 13 and the 37, but we're coming to 1 to go. This is going to be an unbelievable finish here, Alan.
1 more mile in the Movember 50, and the 13 has the momentum, but what can the 37 do? He's been smooth. He's been fast all day. He just has to hold off one of his biggest challenges of the day with 2 more corners to go. Here comes Buttafuoco in the 13, going high, trying to set up a pass. It doesn't look like it'll be enough as they come off of 4 and cross the finish line. The celebration begins for Justin Brooks in the 37, winner of the Movember 50 here in the Winter Heat Series. Congratulations to Justin Brooks. What a run, what an effort by Buttafuoco.
Oh man, and what a finish! I live for that as a fan, but also just being a part of this. Just a long green flag run where the guy in second place reels in the leader. He almost got there, but not quite enough. Not enough time left in the race to maybe make a pass. But Daniel Buttafuoco made that really fun towards the finish. That was good stuff.
That was great racing. Those were some of the guys telling me how hard this track is, right? How it's one of the hardest in the series. How you have to be perfect. We heard that in the earlier race. Every lap nearly has to be perfect. Every lap nearly has to be a qualifying lap. And then we saw these 2 drivers still being so equal at the end. One having to be defensive, one having to be on offense. And it was great racing right to the end. That was awesome.
Yeah, Justin Brooks and Buttafuoco, 2 drivers that just, if you want to learn how to drive and get around a racetrack, those 2 are it. They never make mistakes. They're so clean, so smooth. So congratulations to those 2 drivers again for putting on just an absolute show on the Xbox side.
Yeah, fun day of racing. And for me, you've done this before. So, give me your thoughts just throughout the field about what we saw. Again, I'm just impressed by how much skill and practice it takes. And because it does seem to separate just how good the best drivers are from the ones that maybe, just are a tier below.
Yeah, so that reminds me, just the preparation going to these races. A guy like Tyler Dohar, maybe he didn't have the season he wanted in the Pro League, but he took this time, these months we've had off since the last race. So get in practice, get in laps. He's been grinding. Tyler Dohar, I think that was probably the strongest race I've ever seen him have. Period. So Tyler Dohar, a lot to be proud of right there. I think he's carrying a lot of momentum for junior motorsports right there with that. But also Elijah White, a guy that came in through the qualifiers. He showcased his talent. And like we talked about, anybody at home that wants to be a part of this, they can qualify their way in for future events and be up front battling Justin Brooks like Elijah White did. So just unbelievable performance with some guys you maybe didn't expect to compete with Brooks and Buttafuoco.
Yeah, I think that's the best part, is that you can race your way into this series and compete for this winter heat during these next upcoming races and really show what you got. So make sure you jump on and be a part of that. Let's take a look at some of the race results, though. Justin Brooks taking the win. I got to admit, Rusty, there were times where I wasn't sure if he was going to get it or not, right? But he was so smooth out front and was able to keep that track position. But still, when you have a guy like Daniel Buttafuoco, coming on at the end, look at that margin of victory, 0.169. I mentioned the 42 driver, Luis Zader. He comes in and finishes 3rd. He had a great practice and good showing by him in that 3rd spot, Rusty.
Yeah, Luis Zader's got a ton of speed, and I think he's got a lot of wins coming in his future career at the Pro League. So good of him to bring home in P3. We're looking at the rest of the top 8 here. Jordan Mcgraw, strong run for him in P7. We had a lot of guys kind of fade late, so it's cool for Jordan Mcgraw and the RCR car to get a nice strong run today.
All right, yeah, that rounds out the top 8 there on your screen. Number coming in 9th, Elijah White, followed by Matthew Selby, who was our pole setter. Tom Flitcroft, Perry Huggins, Brian Tedeschi, Slade Gravitt, Justin. I will unfortunately screw up your name, Justin. I apologize. I'll get you next time. Timothy Moore coming in 16th. And then we have the next page rounding out the field, Diego Alvarado, and positions 17 through 24. Rusty.
Yeah, a couple Pro League drivers in that mix. We saw some damage on Diego Alvarado. I know he was confident coming today. The Petty boys, they were strong in practice, but just kind of luck did not fall their way with all these cautions and just aggressive racing out there.
All right, we saw an awesome celebration in our first race from the winner there, and it was fun. It was fun to interview him, and I hope we hear the same emotion when we bring up Justin Brooks here in a second, because it's just so fun to see these celebrations, how much it means, because it is the result of hard work. It is the result of hours of practice, and it's the result of just how much effort these guys put into it. So when we have Justin Brooks up, we'll ask him a few of these questions, Rusty.
Yeah, not many guys put in more time and effort than Justin Brooks. Real racing, sim racing, heat. Justin Brooks is the man. He puts in the laps and gets the job done. And if you're talking about interviews, you never know what you're going to get from Justin Brooks. So I'm curious how he's going to respond here coming up. He's a little bit infamous with these interviews, so I'm looking forward to talking to him here.
All right, Justin, I have been warned about what I should worry about with you as the winner, but we saw the celebration. It was an awesome victory. It was an awesome drive that you had out there. What was the toughest part of your day? Because the 13 car was coming at the end. What was the toughest part of it all?
The toughest part was, man, I had front damage at the beginning and I repaired it. I lost 2 spots, and next thing you know, in the next restart, I got front and rear damage. And when we pitted again that last time, I was like, should I fix it, lose 2 spots and be just as fast as I normally am? Or should I just take a chance and hope there's a few restarts? I knew it was going to hinder my performance. But we just stuck with it. Had front, like I said, front and rear damage. It was loose off the corner. It was slow down the straightaways, but I was driving the wheels off of it. Dan was coming on there at the end. I wish I could have seen what it'd been like if I had no damage compared to him. But hey, I mean, that's how it goes sometimes in these races.
Yeah, Justin, I got to ask about that the late run from Botafogo late in the race. You guys have a little bit of a history. It had been clean and respectful all the way up until the championship race at Bristol last season. What was going through your mind with Botafogo kind of closing in on your damaged car? What were the emotions right there?
I mean, I knew if I managed the gap, I'd be all right. I knew he would probably get there by like the white flag or the checkered flag. And I was just, like I said, just trying to manage the gap, just trying to hit my marks from what I could with the damage I had. And I didn't think he was going to try to, do that again after the last time. I think that was his only time he'll do that on me, hopefully. But I wasn't worried about it too much, honestly. I was only worried if I went up the track, if he got up underneath me, what would happen.
All right, Justin Brooks, it was an awesome run. It was awesome to learn about you, your talents, and see you manage out there out front and bring home the checkered flag in the Movember 50. Well, I'm sure we'll see you again before, but we'll definitely see you at the series finale in February at Daytona. So congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for the broadcast. I want to thank JTG Doherty Racing for, like I said, sponsoring me, Cottonelle. I want to thank Cody and Casey Kelly for helping me this week on the setup and all. They had really good runs for really their first time even really running this game. And like I said, thank you guys again.
All right, no problem. And Rusty, like a real race car driver, like a perfect race car driver, like all race car drivers, made sure to thank their sponsors, right?
Yeah, that's really cool for him to plug it in there right at the end. He's a true professional.
Yeah. You thank the team, you thank the sponsor, and also, thank the people that help him practice, right? I mean, that's a big deal for all these drivers, is that you have a squad, you have a crew, right? That are helping you work out these strategies and work out your skills. So it's a big team effort to get one of these checkered flags. And
yeah,
remember the top 3
behind the scenes. Yeah, you said real quick. Yeah, these guys work hard behind the scenes with their buddies. So even though they're not on the racetrack, they're competing with guys that have just as much skill and ability as them to get that thing working for the main event. So it's all about the team.
Yeah, we were working on a perfect game, Rusty, and I just stepped on you. After all the races, I finally stepped on you during the broadcast, but maybe we'll make it better next time. But let's look, because don't forget, this is the Winter Heat Series, and the top 3 finishers from each of these races move on to the finale this year, this in February. So look, the Xbox One, Justin Brooks, Daniel Botafuco, Luis Zader, and that PS4 race that we saw, Maxwell Castro, Chase Williamson, and Cody Giles. They are already qualified for the championship race in the Winter Heat Series, which will be February 13th in virtual Daytona. And there's still plenty of time for others to qualify as well. I mean, one of the best parts of this today, Rusty, was that a lot of these drivers were open qualifiers, right? It's not just the Pro Series drivers. We saw a lot of good performance from the drivers who qualified through open qualifying.
Yeah, we just saw right there on that graphic, Chase Williamson did come through the qualifiers, and he's locked in to the final event. So huge congratulations to Chase Williamson and these other guys to just kind of get their way in. And so it's just kind of a sigh of relief, because you don't want to wait till race 2 or 3 to try to lock your way, and you want to get that done early. Which for Chase coming through the qualifier, I think that's the most impressive storyline coming out of today. So like we talked about, if you're at home, you can race your way into these races, into the second event and the third event by making it through the qualifiers. So boot up those PlayStation Xboxes, and maybe we'll see you in the next one.
Yes, the next race is the Holiday 60 next month in December, and open qualifying starts from December 7th to December 10th. So you saw it is possible. It can happen. Fire up your console, get on there, and make sure you qualify for one of these races, because you can get on there and you can earn yourself a little money and a spot in the championship race. Well, Rusty, that was cool. That was a great experience. The Movember 50, 2 great races, Xbox One, PS4. We're about to close it out. Anything quickly you want to say about just the racing that we saw today?
I just want to thank the drivers for putting on an unbelievable show. The amount of time and effort they put in behind the scenes to go out there and do this and race that clean and competitively, I have nothing but respect for that. All the fans at home tune into the show. Thank you, everybody in the community that has donated and supported the Movember Foundation. Just thank you guys. Just this was an electric event to be a part of.
Yes, you all helped the racers raise more than $10,000 for Movember. Motorsports Games putting up $5,000 of their own to help match that. So just look, a lot of great racing for a great cause today to support Movember. If you still want to donate, NASCARheat.com/donate, and we'll be back here next month to continue the Winter Series. For Rusty Walrus, I'm Alan Cavana. It's been a great afternoon. I hope you join us again.